Hey everybody, this is Ray Flook, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool. Welcome you back to our weekly recap of Happy. We're going to be taking a look at Season 1, Episode 6, The Scrapyard of Childish Things. Let me start off first by apologizing because I know we had some problems with the live blog last week. Turns out our main server that does the live blogs for everybody was going through maintenance. We didn't know about it and it just happened to be going on during our live blog. So apologize for that. I'm relying a little bit more on my notebook for this because things got really choppy. But it was a fantastic episode. For those of you who have seen it, it's great. For those of you who are re-seeing it, you're going to enjoy it even more. For those of you who are seeing it for the first time and watching this, you're going to get some spoilers, but it's still not going to ruin the experience for you. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to start off with favorite quotes from the episode, of the ones I was able to capture for the live blog. I hope you guys enjoyed. There were a couple other ones that came on board too. So a couple of them, starting off from the beginning of the episode, we had two quotes from the imaginary friend therapy group. We have to learn to let go when they let go, which was a very deep and meaningful one, which kind of is a nice offset to the other one that I picked, which was also fuck Judy Blume, which again I just thought was a nice offset. The imaginary friends counseling group was both hysterical and heartbreaking, and I swear to God there was a Kermit-looking character there from the way they kind of shot it and the way it kind of sounded. I don't know that for sure, and I don't want to get them in trouble with any copyright lawsuits because I think they're owned by the mouse now. So, but yeah, that was the first two quotes. After all the cocaine I had this week, I don't think so. Happy again at group explaining why he just kind of wants to chill a little bit. Yeah, poor little kitten. He fell out a window. Sachs, when talking to the pastor at the church, when he's dropping a suddenly animated and walking around Mikey, kind of let him bide out there for a little bit till Sachs figures out what to do with him. No, not in front of the homeowners association. That's Blue talking to his men after a deal with Sachs goes south, as most of the deals with Sachs usually do. And how they're going to take care of him, but better to take care of him in the garage because the neighbors look down upon killing somebody in your driveway. Apparently, I guess these homeowner associations get really kind of full of themselves. And now maybe it's time for me to protect you. McCarthy's mom to her. I'm going to talk about that during the summary. But I want to leave on an uplifting little quote, which is, "You get your imaginary shit together because we've got a job to finish." That is Sax to Happy in a very strong and uplifting note on the episode. So we're going to jump right in. And we're going to jump right into the episode by, as the aforementioned, imaginary friend support group. And the imaginary friend support group is there essentially to help imaginary friends deal with the time when the person stops believing in them. How do you deal with the fading away? How do you deal with all the pain that comes from it? The realization that the child knows that they're just an imaginary friend. Very, very rough. Very, very rough. Yeah, it was once you get past the comical aspects of seeing all these creatures and listening to them talk, it was really rough. Very, very good. I want to take a look and see whoever wrote that opening section because that was particularly strong. So we see Happy meets a three-headed dog who befriends him and offers him to take him somewhere where things will just be very cool, where he can have a better appreciation for his time while he's still alive as an imaginary friend. Now, while this is going on, we cut back to Sachs. Now, remember that masturbating kid from the last episode that I kept very vague? Well, I was keeping very vague for a reason, because lo and behold, that masturbating kid is Mikey, the resurrected, walking around, clearly of the supernatural, demonic nature Mikey. So Sachs has him. So Sachs is like, you know what? I had a chance to get the password. I didn't get the password, so now I get a chance to get the password, so I'm going to try and get the password. Unfortunately, the only thing Mikey can keep saying is Blue, understandably, because he's just come back from the dead. So Sachs decides, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to keep him here with this pastor. He's going to kind of like hold him there for a little bit, and I'm going to see what I can play and how I can figure this out. I'm going to see how I can go about getting a hold of some kind of leverage, because now I got something to hold over Blue. So we see after that, we go cut to Smoothie. Smoothie now has his whole plan ready to go. He's got these kids dolled up, and it's all about the discipline, ladies and gentlemen. It is all about the discipline. And he already sees in Haley somebody who particularly he's looking forward to cracking, because he already gets the sense of, well, after already degrading Sachs to her and then hitting her with the whole "your dad's dead" thing, he's really trying first and foremost to break her. Unfortunately, I don't think Smoothie's realizing that, Haley is Sax's kid and Amanda's kid, and that combination is a feisty one. I think we're going to see this episode, but even in episodes that are going to be coming up. Okay, so remember I mentioned before about Sachs having leverage. He does. And Sachs ends up rolling up into a nativity performance where Blue and his wife are there. And Blue's seeing his little boy performing on the stage, showing just none of the care and compassion of a father, to no one's surprise. But Sachs rolls up. And Sachs now has two cards to play. Sachs basically tells Blue, look, I know what's going on. I know how you're connected. You got a deal here. Either you give me Haley back or I'm going to take your kid. And by the way, with your kid also means I got Mikey. And if you don't believe I got Mikey, take a look at these really cool pictures that we took. I think you're going to see some of the pictures on some of the posts that we did. I think it's actually the main picture I'm going with this post here, so you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So clearly they're going to make a deal. Trade Haley for Mikey, and Sachs won't go after Blue's other kid also. Seems like a pretty fair deal. What could possibly go wrong, right? So now we have, as I said, there is a lot of stuff going on. So what we do is we get essentially to Haley, who is now trying to start, I guess for lack of a better phrase, a revolution amongst the kids to escape. Unfortunately, if we remember flashing back to the beginning of the episode, or I should say beginning of the season, we do have a situation where we realize right from the start that they're on a set. They're not exactly in a room, and Haley's starting to realize, and with Smoothie's provocation, like, look, you're not getting out of here, and you've got a time to get in within this time, or things are just going to get dramatically worse. And you see, as they run back in, and you see this look of satisfaction on Smoothie's face, that, it's not going to go well, because them being bad is just a turn on for Smoothie, because it gives him more of an opportunity to change their behavior, to show them how to properly behave. Yeah. So we come back to Mikey. We've got Mikey at church. Mikey's got some kind of read. He's like, I need to go. And of course the pastor's like, no, you shouldn't go anywhere. I need you to go in here. I need you to confess. You need to talk to me, son. You need to tell me what's going on. Well, you can imagine how well that goes. We get the implication that there is a lot of just speaking in tongues and demonic things being talked about, probably flames behind the eyes, and everything else we need to know that shows that Mikey is probably no longer Mikey, but Mikey's just kind of a vessel of whatever it is that the Scaramucci family has been getting themselves involved with, and whoever the dung beetle person is that they're working with. I essentially think we got a deal where they're all kind of tied in. Okay, so we see Happy. Happy's going to this place with the three-headed dog, and it turns out this place ends up being the bedroom of Blue's kid, who turns out to be essentially, for lack of a better phrase, a serial killer in training. He tortures and brutalizes these kids. I shouldn't say kids. Kids in a way. They're imaginary friends, but in a way, kids. Even to the point where we're performing Russian roulette, and there's just this. I can't even describe it. The one that ends up dying in the Russian roulette it's a scene that you have to go back on the live blog and catch it, because I believe I caught it. Go online and catch it also. It is a very, very disturbing scene. But Happy essentially now is having to fight against these other imaginary friends who are in cahoots essentially with this demonic kid, just feeding him constant imaginary friends to torture. So we got Happy now in that situation, and the whole Russian roulette situation is going on. And then we see Mikey. Mikey's making his way back home, because where was Mikey going from the church? The call of the sauce. More specifically, the call of the sauce with, I think, great-great-great-grandma's menstrual blood in it. But that's, again, something we're going to move completely past. So now we see Mikey showing up. Mikey's still kind of out of it, so what can Mikey do? But they bring him in, and guess now who's going to start being part of the reality show? It's going to be Mikey, and Mikey being part of that reality show is about to screw up what's going to happen next, because Sax and Blue show up. They're ready to meet. They're ready to do the handoff, and lo and behold, what a surprise. Blue doesn't have Haley, and Sax doesn't have Mikey. Now, the problem with Sax in his side of this fight and this argument is that Blue can be lying, but Blue's got the backup. First off, he's got the muscle, and he's got the guns and everything else, and also he has technology on his side, because as much as Sax wanted to play off the idea of, I got Mikey's in the trunk of that car, it's kind of hard to pull it off when Mikey's now already becoming the king of Snapchat and Instagram, as Blue so inconveniently shows Sax, like, hey, then if Mikey's in that trunk, then who the hell is this? So it goes down exactly what you would expect. The bomb setup that Sachs had by meeting up with Ledick and getting the C4 doesn't go off. It doesn't explode. It doesn't help him out. So, of course, that falls apart. And of course, he ends up finding himself in the garage. In the garage on his knees with three guys who are ready to put him out of his misery. And of course, as is the big mistake everybody makes, like with James Bond, they let him talk too damn long. Because it turns out he's got essentially a groupie of one of the three who is actually looking forward and admires him and is looking forward to the honor of killing him and wants to take selfies and everything like that. Now, what happened in the process is that as Sachs is talking, Happy in the kids' room hears Sachs. So it's like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Oh my God, this isn't just a coincidence. We were meant to find each other. We were meant to be together. So Happy goes full-on ballistic. Now, they may not want him to leave, but let's just say there's a reason why Happy has that horn, and he puts it to use. And to see an imaginary friend, blood-covered Happy staring down that torturous little kid was just fantastic. So we've got Happy on his way to find Sachs, which is really, really awesome. And then as this is about to happen, as this is going on, we've got Happy in play, we've got all this taking place, and it still looks like Sachs is going to take a bullet. But then Blue's wife and kid walk in, and that just changes the entire complexion of the episode. And things just go nuts. Essentially using him as collateral and distraction. To say it goes insane, well, let me put it this way. A chainsaw's involved. And that's one thing I want to say about the show, is as much as it goes a little crazy sometimes with the violence, it never seems to find a level that it can't somehow top, which I really appreciate and I have a lot of respect for. But the chainsaw scene is just fantastic. Just because you're waiting for how long it happens, and you're ashamed that you find yourself waiting. But yeah, so that's going on. We now cut to a scene of McCarthy and her mom. And it's one of the quotes I had talked about earlier. And if there was an underlying theme of this episode, it would have to be the sacrifices that we make for love and the sacrifices we make for the people that we love, and to make things right. And McCarthy's mom gets a moment of clarity and tells her a story about her father and how, McCarthy as a little girl was the subject of a threat, and how it's directly, mom tells her, like, look, these people, these evil people who are connected between Blue, Internal Affairs, and everybody else, they were involved in your dad dying. They threatened your dad. They wanted your dad to play right and play nice, and this is what happened. And in a moment of clarity, we realize McCarthy's mom knows what's going on. She knows that she's being used as a tool over McCarthy's head to get her to play ball. And as a mom, she makes the ultimate sacrifice. We're left with the implication that she's dead, combining milk with her overdosing on her medication, essentially removing the one power that Blue had over McCarthy, which is fascinating me out because I'm curious to see where we're going to get a McCarthy who doesn't have this hanging over her head. Very, very interesting to see where things go this episode. It was a heartbreaking scene. I apologize for getting super serious for a moment, but it's a very heart-wrenching scene. Okay, going back to the finale, we finally see now that after all the carnage has been done, we see our team is back together, but Happy is drained. He is sucked dry. Between what's going on with Haley, having to fight the other imaginary friends, and just the lack of just decency that's been going on, he's losing it. But in a wonderful moment, Sachs believes in Happy and makes sure he knows it and tells him, like, look, I believe in you. I'm sorry. We got this. We're going to get this together. We're going to pull this off. We can do this. Absolutely. And you just see a new vibrancy and Happy. And I got to be honest with you, got very excited. I'm glad all the problems and mistakes ended by then because it was fantastic to see the team back together. I was painfully excited about it. So that's it. That's our recap. Hope you're able to join us this evening, unofficially starting at 9 o'clock, officially starting at 10 o'clock. We're going to be doing a live blog of Happy's 7th episode, Destroyer of Worlds. So please make sure you join us. There should not be any problems or any issues this evening. I guarantee it. But again, guys, thank you for joining me. My name is Ray Flook. I work television beat at Bleeding Cool. And hopefully I will see you live blogging with me tonight. Take care.